Welcome back for another episode of the PokeStop podcast. I am your host, Zach Bra, as always, joined by my co-host, Thad Wayne. Thad, how you doing today, buddy?
Oh, Zach, I'm about to be doing so much better once we record a podcast.
You know, this is actually the second time we recorded this episode. I didn't hit record the first time, so if this podcast is late, that's why. And not because we recorded on Thursday and not Tuesday like we normally do. That definitely won't be the reason. But Thad, it's a beautiful day, you know. It was nice outside again here in Ohio. We've been having like either 60 or 30. And
but the sun's been out.
Wasn't too bad. It has been nice. It's been nice. It's been nice to sit outside a little bit. But Thad, we got to get into some Pokemon here. Neither of us have really played a ton of locals this past week. We've definitely both been like more focused on like the post rotation stuff and the Journey Together format. But our locals on Monday, we did do post rotation. So we moved at least our league has moved to the post rotation format that we're going to be having for Atlanta regionals, being the first sanctioned event of that format. And it was really interesting for me, at least, because we had a lot of decks that you wouldn't expect. I think part of it was a lot of our players didn't actually know we were going to post rotation, even though we announced it like 12 times. But that's fine. But we had a lot of weird decks. We had a Ceruledge, Archaludon, a Feraligatr, a melodic kind of thing. It felt more like stall with like a Feraligatr in there for a reason I don't really understand. But, you know, locals are locals.
More steps.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. I don't know. But it was cool to see people playing the new decks. I did really bad, so that was fun. But I don't know why. On Mondays, my deck just like doesn't work. It's really weird.
I mean, it's tradition for you at this point.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like I have like the worst win rate at our Monday locals, and then I go to like any other locals, and I'm like, oh, this deck knows how to work again. But that's totally fine. I am curious what you think of the new format, because we've tested a lot of the new format. You've seen our a night of locals with it. What are your thoughts on this new format, Thad?
I mean, my thoughts are, twofold. One is, I think a lot of players still have a lot of experimenting to do. I think people are still uncovering what's good. Just because we don't really have the same meta, we don't really have like the same, I don't know, play style that Japan has. So I think that, and we don't even have the same rules as Japan, when it comes to like time constraints, restrictions, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious to see what decks actually perform well and what decks don't.
Yeah.
Just mostly by way of, how do I say this? Just by way of, will time matter?
Yeah.
Strictly, I'm speaking for like the stall wall situation.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a stall deck, which I feel like walls is, I understand like it's not a stall deck, but it's pretty much a stall deck. Like you are just burning your opponent out of resources. You don't really take prizes. You put a little bit of pressure on them so like they can't just like not do anything with like the Farigiraf and the Melodic, Mimikyu.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, it's a stall deck. So yeah, like as players play this more and this deck gains popularity, are you gonna have enough time to finish a game? Right? Like I feel like after every regional, there's like a Snorlax that day 2'd, but like they're mad because this one round 13 opponent slow played me, and I was like, you're playing stall. The name of your deck is stall. And then like I don't know, like
your deck is don't play the game.
Yeah, your objective is to let them not have fun ever. And I'm like, you can play that deck. Sure, it is legal in the standard format, but I feel like you also can't get mad at people for not like accommodating to your pace of play because you chose the slowest deck imaginable.
Like, yeah, and I think that's where like And I'm sorry to cut you off. I
Go
just
ahead.
feel like that's like kind of where my experience, and I think our experience, I guess, really comes into play is like, are we deck, but like winning it, like I'll give like an example, like winning a tournament starts at deck building,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like,
100%.
what are you playing? What are you playing against? What are you teching for? Are you over teched? Are you playing for consistency? Are you playing for power? And I think that when a new rotation happens, everyone's just throwing shit against the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, for sure. I think most people, I mean, between the two of us, we've had, I think, the entire format built minus walls. And I know like
Yeah,
there's several other people we play locally with who they have like everyone's bringing like 5 decks, and the question isn't like, at least for us, it hasn't been what don't we. It's not what should we bring. It's what don't we have already built. So I think
yeah,
yeah, that early format is just like we are throwing everything out, and we're just like let's see what feels good. And shockingly enough, I really enjoyed Bolt, which is crazy. I've never played Bolt before in my life, and I'm just finding myself playing Raging Bolt now. It's crazy. And the deck honestly feels like it has the opposite problem from pre-rotation. Like pre-rotation, you always started hot, and it was the late game Ionos, Roxanne's, Judges, like the hand disruption supporters were always Bolt's Achilles heel, I feel like.
yeah,
Um, so where like you would have to like prioritize like a Pheasantipity or like multiple ogre ponds, like making sure you have like there were times I would retrieval and I would grab like a grass and a fighting or something, like like a couple energies and just leave them in my hand and be like, if you Iono me, these are going to be in deck, and then if I find an Earthen Vessel, I'm finding my energies.
yeah,
And now like it feels like the deck has the opposite problem where like with the Noctowl engine, you can always find things later. And the bigger issue for me, at least so far, has been that early game consistency and like finding the Sada turn 1 as opposed to turn 3 and 4.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's like some decks right now feel like setup is super easy
Mm.
and closing out a game is really tough.
Yeah.
Whereas like Bolt kind of has that opposite problem. Whereas like
Yeah, which is really
setting
weird.
up, yeah, it's just because you're not in, right. It's just like comes down to like you're not turning through cards, right?
Yeah.
You're not hitting the P stop. You're not Radiant Greninja.
Oh my god, I can't believe you said P stop on the podcast. That's great. I love
uh,
that. Yeah, but I
you're
agree
welcome.
with what you're saying though. Yeah. Like I mean like a turn 1 for Bolt is, before we talk about Squawk, before we talk about Ogrepon, I'm going to mill 3 cards on a PokeStop. I'm gonna hit at least one shoes, probably maybe 2. So like before we even talk about Squawk, which gets me 6 new cards, I'm already seeing 5 cards. So start with a 7 card hand. I see 5 more. That's 12. I see 6 off a Squawk. That's 18. 2 Ogre Ponds puts you at 20. And then if there's a Greninja involved, like we're seeing half the deck in one turn,
Yeah,
without even talking about Sada, without even talking about Earthen Vessel and all these different cards that let you dig through your deck and
yeah.
get
That's
things
that's
out.
blind sequencing. That's not including like all the random search. You're gonna
For
nest
sure.
ball. You're gonna ultra ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean it was pretty customary for me to have a 20 card deck when I attack on turn 1. Like my biggest issue in the mid game was always like, am I going to have enough cards in deck
Yeah.
to like
And
actually
like I
do
feel like
this?
Yeah, and I feel like in our testing, it's come down to like, oh wow, you're going like I have like 18 cards in deck on turn 3.
Yeah.
Like it's becoming more, and I'm starting to see like maybe you're early if you can just set up as a bolt. Power levels unmatched, but man, getting to that early game setup is just ooh.
It's been
Whereas
it's
like
been
if
difficult. Yeah, no, it's definitely been difficult, and I think that is going to be the big challenge for Bolt is can it set up? Because
yeah,
you don't have the aggression you did before.
yeah, which is like interesting because the other I would say like big basic deck in format right now is the Terra box, and you're sort of at the opposite end of the problem
Yeah.
where your setup is always flawless. You're setting up every single time. Like how many times I set up against you?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like you're playing like a regional level, like we're at a regional, and like I feel like at a regional you expect your opponent to always set up.
Yeah,
Like
and that
that's
deck
how
just
it like
always
that's
seems
how
to
the
set up.
games felt. Yeah, and we're just like starting to like really dig into this deck because you've really been enjoying Terravox, and I feel like the deck has a ton of really good matchups if you just avoid walls.
Yeah, and honestly, like that could just comes down to like do like, and that's why like early on, like in the conversation, I was like, like, do you play for consistency or do you play for tech? Do you play for power? Do you play into the like? Do you play to try to beat your bad matchup?
Yeah,
And I think that Cornerstone is unfortunately so relevant, and I hate it.
yeah,
In so many different decks because it's your one way through wall. Um, I even floated the idea to you originally for the Great Tusky X.
yeah. We were looking at Great Tusk, and like it'd be fine if it didn't mill you and cost 4 energy.
Yeah, I think that the one like it sucks because like you almost it makes me so close want to, and you're gonna hate this. It almost makes me want to play E-Switch.
In bold?
Yeah, for the Great Tusk.
No, no. I think we're trying too hard at that point.
I mean, dude, it's super cope for
Because it's like,
sure.
what do you cut for that, right? Like Bolt, I feel like is now like a fairly
Consistency,
tight list.
but like
Yeah, like okay, cool. Now I'm not ultra balling because I have my fucking E switch for my Great
yeah,
Tusk
so
for walls. This really helps me
yeah,
in the Terrapagos matchup. It's great. I love it. Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
I
like
feel like
like again, just sort of like my point is circular here. It's just like there are cards you can play that'll win you your bad matchup at the cost of not playing the game at all.
yeah, like I'd rather play the game 85% of the time than 50% of the time because I chose to focus on the 5%.
Yeah, and I
You
think
know?
that's just sort of where post rotation feels right now for me. It's just like it feels super awkward.
Yeah, yeah. And I think for me, you're kind of like picking your bad matchups, and I feel like you always have to do that in Pokemon. Like, you're never going to have good matchups in everything. Like, there's always a bad matchup in a room. So it's just about, I think, if you can get the bad matchups to like a 40%
Yeah,
win rate. No, I don't think you play Lugia anymore with that. I think that's out post rotation. You know,
unfortunately, she rotated, but
V's
yes,
rotated, yeah. As did DTE, as did Archeops, as did a lot of that deck.
I'm sad.
Okay, no, I thought you were looking at him like DTE didn't rotate, and I was like, it
No, I
definitely
was giving you a
does.
frowny face. That was a frowny face.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, this is going to be an interesting format, though. I think it's going to be way more fun than Prismatic. I have thoroughly not enjoyed Prismatic at all. Um,
No.
and I'm excited for post rotation. There's a lot of cool things coming out. I know we're both
Mm-hmm.
excited for the Full Grip Games 3K in Ohio. We'll be at um, on the 29th. That'll be really fun. And then we're both going to Atlanta Regionals and Milwaukee, or Madison, excuse me. So a
Yeah.
lot of Pokemon in this format. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to get things figured out and do all that kind of stuff. But the reason we go to regional stat is to try and get that Worlds invite. You know, the coveted top 125 spot in North America. But fear not, Thad, because you have a retail job and you don't get to play on the weekends.
Yeah, I don't.
You can get a spectator badge. And the way that's going to work this year is a little different. Is because there's actually you have to sign up to get on the interest list, which you can do from now until March 23rd at 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So it would be 3 a.m. on the East Coast. And it's kind of crazy. Spectator badges are going to up to $100 for um, the full multi-day spectator pass. And like you were telling me before, last year was like $40, and it's pretty consistently been $40. So like, how do you feel about like that 250% increase?
I think Pokemon is crazy
I think
for
it
doing this.
sucks, and I definitely think it'll work. Like they definitely will make the money on that, and that honestly feels worse.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem is that there is uh, my biggest problem I think is that there's just no like what do you get for being a spectator? Like you don't get play mats, you don't get
Yeah,
like how
I
players get
wish
like
you
a
got
swag
something
bag,
for sure.
right? Like for $99 you're getting access to spend more money.
And like regionals are 20. Like that is such a
Which
massive jump. Yeah,
and
are
like are the
regionals
side
going to go to
events?
like? I think so. I believe it. I believe it operates like any other regional IC event. It's just more.
Yeah, but like are the side events really gonna be like worth it? Like
I think you would. I would expect just as much from those side events as I would from any regional side events, which is nothing.
not a lot.
Some Obsidian Flames packs.
Oh,
Ooh, chilling. Yeah, so I think them going up on that. Hopefully, that's not a sign of the way entry fees are heading, which would really
no,
suck.
I hope not.
I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
feel like
didn't even think about
70
that.
is like as much. Yeah, like I'm just like 70 is a lot. And like it's for, I mean, a lot of people, like we're talking now, like going to an event is like $400. And it's
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's like it's a you have to have at least a little bit of disposable income available to you in order
yeah,
to do a regional.
yeah, which I mean, like, I guess at some point, like it has to happen. Like prices have to go up with the price of everything else because a lot of these costs are also being passed on to like the tournament organizers and everything. But it's definitely not something you want to see, I guess.
No,
The one thing you
feels bad
can
for
do though,
everybody
Thad,
involved.
you can sign up for a media and content creator pass, and I
Wow,
don't know
Zach, tell me
why.
more.
So like I kept seeing on Twitter this week, like random people who don't make content in any way outside of like shit posting on Twitter at work, like how they're like signing up for it, and I'm like, do you think tweeting is content? Like, do you actually? I hope you're like just memeing, like filling this out for the memes and not for like any kind of real expectation that you have a chance at like being a content creator.
I think it's crazy.
Yeah, I was, I, I just saw one today, and I was like, you can't be serious, right? And then like I went to like their bio, and the link went to someone else's Limitless page, and I'm like,
I mean,
you're insane.
that is unhinged behavior.
It's really weird. I was like, you need to go outside and like stop being so parasocial. It was
Yeah,
really weird.
no, it's weird behavior to have.
It's weird behavior. And it's like we do a podcast, and I almost didn't like like send in my own request for like a content creator pass, which like I don't think I'll get it. But like even I was just like, am I wasting their time with this? And I like am actively making Pokemon content right now as I speak.
Yeah, I mean, not only are you doing podcasts, you do Twitch. You have your own YouTube.
Yeah, I just I kind of hate it. I don't know. I think people sometimes can be really entitled in a way that doesn't make any sense and that they have not earned.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
those,
everyone knows someone like that.
those Zoomers.
Oh my god, they're gonna be skibbitying all over my toilet now.
I
No,
still have no concept of what that means, but I say it all the time.
same. Honestly, I just pretend to know,
I
and then if
say
someone
I
asks
say
me,
things.
I'm gonna Google it really quick.
I
It's gonna
say
be
it to
great.
like the kids at work, and I'm like, yeah, like
Phenomenal.
skibbity, and they're like, that's not what that means. I'm like,
Isn't it
great. I
though?
don't know what any of it means. So
I'm pretty sure it means exactly that.
like, it's all words that are made up anyway. So who cares?
Yeah. I don't know. But I want to move on to something that I'm going to love talking about. All right. This is the Ace Trainer Rewards Program. Now, Thad, maybe you're new to the Pokemon game. Have you ever heard of the Ace Trainer Reward Program?
I just found out, thanks to you.
You're welcome.
No, I'm just kidding.
So,
I know what it was.
for those who don't know, the Ace Trainer Reward Program was a program Pokemon announced back in June, including something called the Ace Trainer Rewards. Well, let me tell you what you get. So to become an Ace Trainer, you have to have 200 championship points, which I do like that number. I think 200 is fair. I think in a season, if you are playing locals often and you're like actively trying to not be terrible, and like maybe you're someone who doesn't have that disposable income to spend the $400 to go to a regional to spend all this money, and I get that. Like I think a lot of people are in that boat. So I think it's cool that there is a program for them. But let me tell you what rewards you get, that. All right. Let's say you get those 200 championship points. I mean, you haven't played it. You haven't been able to play a ton this year. I mean, you're at, what are you at? Like 150?
160.
Wow.
Two.
Look at you. 162. That's so 38 more championship points. Just win a cup. You know? Just find a 4-person cup and be like, I'll split the prizing.
Yeah, find a weekend day off work and go to a cup.
Yeah, and just win it. Just take it down, you know? But let's say you get there, Thad, because I believe you're gonna get there. I'm a Thad stan for the Thad Ace Trainer Program qualification. You get an exclusive deck box and card sleeves in live. The online client no one likes. I go, but there's more.
Well,
That not only
interject like 3 seconds. I haven't opened TCG Live in probably 2 months.
Yeah, I think I opened it today to see what I got off of a limitless tournament I played in like 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Continue.
like I was just like, I wonder what I get. You also get a personalized Play Pokemon stamped celebratory fanfare. Now, maybe you've never heard of this card because I haven't, but
I had heard of the card.
Thad, since you've never heard of this card, this was a promo card previously exclusive to Asian markets. So not only do you get a deck box and sleeves and a client you don't like and don't really want to use ever, but you also get a promo that another region has been getting for 4 years. I can tell the look of excitement on your face. You're like, oh, I'm so excited to get these things. When does this happen? Because the season ends, in June of 2025. When do I get these items? Well, Thad, you can get hyped because you're not going to get them until probably March of 2026 because the products are not even going to be shipped out until 2026. You
Does
look
Big
excited.
Pika just hate us?
I think so. I genuinely try to give Pokemon and like TPCI like such a benefit of the doubt. And
Don't do that.
they continually just say, but what if we did something dumb? And like, I love the idea of this. I think a trainer reward program for people who can't go to regionals, can't afford it, would be great. And I think the Worlds format this year kind of killed locals for a lot of people. Like, there's just not really a point to grinding it anymore, especially with the format it is this year. And so, like, giving locals some kind of breath of life would have been great. But this is just so terribly mid. Like, it's actually insane. And, like, we were talking the other day in a local Discord. Me, you, and some other people who play Pokemon locally. And we were talking about, like, how cool it would have been if like you get priority registration for events, for ICs, for the Pokemon Center reservations at those tournaments. Like that would have been so cool, and it would make more people want to play locals. Because then, like, let's say you're a collector and you're like let's say you're one of these like scalper douchebags who like just goes there to buy a bunch of stuff and leave, and then like just sell it on eBay on your way home.
Yeah.
You might get them to play locals, and then they might become like an actual Pokemon fan and not some guy on eBay. You know, like this could have done such a good thing for independent local scenes at different leagues.
Yeah. And
And
I
like,
mean, I'm sorry. I just want, yeah, I think that
yeah, go
there's
ahead.
like, there's a, I mean, like you and I have talked about this, like using like play points, like the points you earn for going to events,
Yeah,
whether locals or whatever. Every time you go to a card shop, you know, they ask you for your player ID to put you in the tournament. That then will award you a play point for showing up for that card shop for that day for their
yeah,
local tournament, or even just for a local league. That you get added to like the, you know, little event page that they have. As a TO myself, you know, it's part of the reporting process that you do every month to add players to um, your your online play organized portal. It's so stupid, but like the reporting is silly. But
sure.
you get credit for showing up to leagues, and you should be able to earn points, like the play
And use those
points,
for something.
and use those very similarly, like I do for my professor points when I host these leagues and events at my local league. It's about like creating a grassroots, more local scene,
Yeah,
you know,
for
and
sure.
it was my biggest, like, I really haven't mentioned this at all, I think, up until right this very moment. But I think that part of what drew me back into the game was how much different, like the different perspective I would have on it post COVID,
Mhm.
right? Like how much people changed because of COVID,
Yeah,
and also me wanting to seek out, like, you know, actually being a more active member in a community. You know, I just had to pick one, right? I had to pick a lane. Like, do I play Pokemon? Do I go head over heels into like some local pickleball league or something? Um, but no, I think that, you know, part of the allure for me is showing up at locals and meeting new people. I mean, that's how we met.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like I genuinely enjoy playing in locals. Like
Yeah.
I've had my cup and challenge finishes done since like November. I think it might have been honestly October. I don't know. I remember it was well before Thanksgiving, and like I have still gone to locals and like just to enjoy the game with other people. Like it's so fun, and it really sucks that like more people don't get to have that experience.
Yeah, and I mean, like they aren't really rewarding people who, you know, are like the local grinders, or maybe people who just, like you said, can't really afford to make it to a regional. Maybe if
Yeah,
it's like a local regional, sure, they might go, but like
that's
some
one.
players out there that are going to every single regional,
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
yeah. Like I mean, that's so insane. Like that honestly just makes me just like respect like a guy like Brent Tonniston who is like going to every event. Like I feel like every weekend he's at a regional, and it's
No,
just
but we
like
know how much money he spent on all of this.
he yeah he also did say wasn't it like $12,000 on flights?
Yeah, $12,000
Like that is absurd. Like
for some members in our community. That is like literally half their year's paycheck, or like half their year's
yeah, for
salary.
sure. Yeah, 100%. Like that is an insane amount of money.
Yeah,
Like I'm pretty sure
it
minimum
is.
wage at 40 hours a week for 52 weeks a year is like 18.
Yeah, that would be all of your money for an entire year.
To just fly. And we're not even talking about like the fees to get into a regional. Oh, I'm sorry, it's 15,000. So yeah, Brett Tonneson has spent more on Pokemon this year than the average minimum wage employee earns in a year.
That's crazy.
that's absurd on so many different levels that we're not going to get into on this podcast. You'll find the other podcast for that. No, it's yeah. I would love it if Pokemon did more with this. Like S tier idea with a D tier execution is kind of like my takeaway. Like this could have been so much better, and they just kind of like fumbled the bag, and it just feels like they never even had a bag. Like they were just like they had this idea, and 8 months later, like some supervisor like walks up to some random person's cube and goes, "What's going on with the Ace Trainer program?" And they're like, "Fuck!" He like opens his door, sees like this giant sleeve of promos. He's like, "We're gonna do this for him," and it's like these promos, and they're like, "Well, what else?" And I'm like, "They're also getting sleeves in a box," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah." It's like we talked to the players; they're gonna love it. They're so excited, and I'm like,
okay. I have a survey that says,
yeah. I commissioned a poll from Twitter. It's fine. It's great. You can trust them. Yeah. So I think it could have been so much better, and hopefully they take feedback and don't not take the feedback and do anything with it, because I really hope they take the feedback and do something about it. But I think most of us are not holding our breath for that one, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah, because I saw someone, I don't remember the person's name, but they're like, they work for TPCI, and they were like, if you have feedback you'd like to share with us, just submit a support ticket. And I'm like, so the company that never answers support tickets, you want me to submit a support ticket?
Please send us a support ticket.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems good. Yeah, I'm sure that'll go far. Yeah, I bet the lead of this program is going to read all the support tickets about how much we love it, and that's also why like
on deaf ears.
Yeah, like that's the other thing. Like I feel like I don't ever want to submit a support ticket unless it's actually something serious, just because like I know it won't get responded to.
No.
Like it's or unless it's like an insane like judge or player posting on social media like super terrible things. Like I feel like it takes so much. Yeah, I don't know, some father or something, who knows. If you know, you know. And it just like it sucks that like we don't get this. And it's rough. It's rough, honestly. So hopefully as this program develops, and maybe next year, I'm hoping they change the world format back to what it was before this year. I kind of hate the top X players in each region. I think I don't like that at all. I think if you want less people, just up the point requirement. I think people will gauge their ability to play based on that number, because it's like, okay, if it's 700, okay, if I'm not at like 400 by the midpoint of the season, I'm probably going to take a step back and just like save my money at that point.
Yeah, I think right now, in order to be in top 125, you have to be at like,
I think it's like 550.
550. Yeah, I was going to say 550 or 570. One of the two sounded right.
Yeah, I felt 600 was going to be the number.
Well, wasn't that the number last year?
Yeah, I didn't think the number was going to change. Because my thought was, I didn't think the number was going to change, because the top 125 last year was like right at like 600, but there was also just such a long list of 600s. Because I feel like most people, once you get to that number, you stop playing pretty much. Like you don't need to go to regionals anymore. Like,
yeah,
outside of like trying to win money or just trying to do well at a tournament, you know, a lot of people, once I got that invite, why would I go? And hopefully hopefully they go away from that system, so people can like kind of pick and choose their regionals to get their points. And like, okay, if I don't get at least like a top 128 at 3 of these 4 regionals, you know, we're kind of cooked at that point.
I agree.
But that's fine. You know, we can move on to that. We can go on to our last thing I want to discuss. And this is a happy topic. Okay, no more crash outs. All right. We're done crashing out this episode. We got pre-releases coming up.
Man, I love
this weekend. I am also a huge fan of pre-releases and definitely don't think they're dumb at all. No, so we do have pre-release weekend starting on March 15th. You can play the Journey Together cards for probably the cheapest amount you will see.
Yep.
So I think most stores charge 25 for their pre-releases. You get your build and battle kit, which comes with a pre-constructed 40 card deck and 4 booster packs. So honestly, getting 4 packs for $25 is, I think it's like $6.25 a pack, which is probably the cheapest you'll find.
Yep.
I feel like it'll be double that on release.
Yeah, I'd come to believe that that's probably accurate.
Yeah, so honestly, kind of a good way to play the cards, like at least get the cards, and like, I think it's nice to play in pre-releases because like you just get to see the new stuff. You get to finally look at these cards you've been thinking about for weeks, and hopefully pull like, some singles you need.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's first off, like you said, gonna be one of the most affordable ways to find packs. But on top of that, I think it's a fun way. Like, you're gonna get like a break of 40 cards that will have like a pre-constructed deck, and in there, if you don't get 4 Cramorant, you probably lose whatever tournament you're playing in.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited to see what people pull. I love seeing like, this is like this is gonna be like the dorkiest thing of all time, but I love seeing people's like lists from pre-releases.
I love back in the day, people used to do that. Like they would post in like, hey Fonte or Burbank, like, yo, check out this broken 3-0 pre-release, bruh. Here's my matchups. And like people were like I think like it was a meme, but like people would take it really seriously.
No, people are like dead ass on Twitter with that. Like straight up. I've seen it so many times. And I low-key love it. I think it's so cool. Like I think it's just it's a cool thing to do. It's just like it's unique. It's its own like little format. The games are fun. The games are fast.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, part of why I like it so much. You get to see a lot of the new strategies. There's mostly only new cards with some minor exceptions in the pre-build con.
Yeah, I think the pre-con is the only old cards you get is like consistency stuff. Like it's usually a couple
like
supporters.
A research or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what and how many Cramorants I can find. Just end up playing nothing. Oops, all crams. Honestly, that might just be my strategy.
Just quad cram, and just a bunch of items.
You can play as many of any card as you want.
Oh yeah, that's true. You don't have to follow the 4 rule. You can have as many as you pull.
Yeah. So if I get like 6 Cramorant, I'm just putting 6 Cramorant in my deck with no energy.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of consistency.
I'm also a big fan of all the promos. I think they're all good-looking promos. I think like all 4 of them. I don't hate any of them.
No.
And honestly, some of the attacks are kind of cool. So the Enstar Manitan, which is a stage 1, for 2 colorless, it does 30 times 30 for each basic energy card in your opponent's discard pile, which like could be kind of crazy. Because I feel like also in like pre-release formats, people play like heavy energy cards.
I should have that energy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other, he actually does have a snipe as well. For 2 fighting colorless, he does 90 to the active. And then it also does 90 to one of their bench. So like you could take out. I mean, if you can 2 prize in a pre-release, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So like that could be a big attack someone uses. The Kilowattrel, which honestly I love that art. Just like a flying bird. This is Iono's Kilowattrel. It has the ability where you must discard a basic lightning card from your hand to use this ability. Once during your turn, you may draw until you have 6. That could be kind of broken, honestly.
Yeah, that's really good.
The attack's kind of mid. It's just lightning double colorless for 70, which feels very underwhelming.
Yeah.
But it's also just a draw engine in the Iono decks. The Lily's Rabambi has the Inviting Wink ability. When you play a Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, You may have your opponent reveal their hand and put any number of basic Pokemon you find there onto the bench. So, are we playing stall?
Sounds
Are
like
we
stall.
trapping in a pre-release? That'd be insane. And the attack's just one psychic for 50, which honestly isn't terrible.
No, I actually don't hate that.
Like just one energy attachment for 50 damage, like could be good.
Yeah.
And the last one, which I think this will probably be the best pre-release kit to get, the Hops stuff. Hop Snorlax has the extra helpings ability. Attacks used by your Hops Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, but it doesn't stack, so you only get one extra helpings. So you can't like helpings. Okay, now I'm doing 150 on my one energy 30 damage attack.
So you're saying I can't go back for seconds?
You cannot, but you can have extra helpings, but just once.
But no seconds.
No seconds, just first. But it's a big first. It's like a real big
It's a
plate.
big
It's like, honestly, it's like the comically large, like plate of Italian food. You know?
Oh,
Or you
done.
get like a giant bowl like spaghetti meatballs. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think this one honestly will be the best, just because you have the Snorlax, you have the Cramorant, Hop's Choice Band. I think Hop is probably the least aura having trainer, but maybe the best pre-release deck. Which I think would really just
I'm
confirm.
about to win.
That would just like confirm Hop has no aura if he only wins pre-releases.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Hops Kramer. I'll put it on screen during post, but like the Hops Kramer that has 110 HP and can attack for 0 energy if you have a choice band on it, but for single energy can attack if your opponent has 3 or 4 prize cards remaining.
Yeah, it's kind of cracked.
It's absolutely nutty. It actually might just attack for free, and it does 120, I think.
Yes, yeah. So it's one energy for 120. If your opponent doesn't have 3 or 4 prize cards remaining, this attack does nothing.
Yeah.
So like, but that's honestly really good. Like early, you just do that a couple times, and then you end with the Snorlax.
Yep, you build up. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you just build up energy on a Snorlax on the bench.
Yeah, and Snorlax is 150, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 150 on that Snorlax too. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so also you're doing 140, and then you're probably just winning the game from there. But the dynamic press does do 140 though, which is kind of annoying. Or it does 80 to yourself.
Yeah,
because that could soften you up, but like also like the Hops Cramorant doing 150 is crazy. And you could honestly probably just donk someone in a lot of situations. Like you go first, it's a pre-release, you don't have a great hand. You know, you got that supporter for next turn, but you can't use that the first turn, then your opponent just like hop energy knockout.
Don't even need the energy. You just cram with the band because the band reduces your energy attack or your energy cost by 1.
Oh, yeah. So like sure, yeah, that's just like more combo you can do.
Yeah,
for sure.
So if I get 4 cram, you know where to find me. The top tables.
Yeah, for sure. But it will definitely be fun. I know we're both going to a midnight pre-release Friday night, and then we have our league pre-release on Monday. So that'll be fun to see. I also like just watching people open the packs because like people are just so excited. It's just it just feels like Christmas morning. I feel like to a lot of people because it's like it's the new set, right? It's the new toy you keep seeing but you haven't gotten yet, and like now it's here, and now you can finally get your hands on it and like touch the cards, start reading them, like figuring out what singles I gotta buy.
Yeah, I love this time of year. I love pre-release. I'll always go to pre-releases. I think they're so fun.
Yeah, very, very fun time. So hopefully everyone can get out, get your hands on the cards at a not atrocious price point.
Yeah.
Well, Thad, I think that'll do it for us. I think that is all I gotta say. Is there anything you want to tell the people?
No. Be safe. Enjoy your pre-releases. Good luck on the pack openings.
What wise words from Thad, everybody. I mean, you just got to give it to him.
What wise
he
words?
said some really real sage like things during the first recording that we didn't record. So like that's just like
What did I
lost
even
in
say?
space forever. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up right now. Damn, Chad,
Oh yeah, it
he
was
can't
whatever
go
I
with
said
the
was so
bit.
wise.
Yeah. Chad, we're gonna teach him to go with the bit. We're gonna get there one day. One day we'll be a professional podcast. But for
Yeah.
now, that is the PokeStop podcast. I am your host, Zach Bra. As always, joined by my host, Thad Wan. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check us out anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And we will see y'all on the next one. I hope you have a wonderful night and stay safe out there.
Yep. Later.